Jean-Marie, thank you for talking to me about this conundrum. Can you tell me, why is it difficult to buy land in Burgundy now?
Well, the demands for Burgundy has been so big over the last few years that the cost of the land has reflected by the demands and the price have increased to the point that it's now more than 5 times what it used to be 20 years ago. So who wants to buy some land that it's going to take you 40 to 50 years to pay back?
So it's not just the Burgundians who are interested in the land, is it?
Well, actually, that's a part of the challenge. It is less and less possible for the Burgundian to be able to buy because we can't afford it.
Could you give me an example of a premier cru in Gevrey, as we're in Gevrey-Chambertin now?
Well, per hectare, some premier cru now can go easily 6-7 million euros per hectare, which means once you remove your cost of production, and people have to bear in mind that we are thinking by the price ex-seller we are selling, not the final price of the market consumers are buying. So a premier cru that you would sell, let's say for example something like 45 euro ex-seller, once you remove your running cost from the profit you have left, it's going to take you over 50 years to pay back for this investment.
Right, so then your other option then might be to rent vineyards.
Well, we did used to have two systems for renting. Before we had what we call the métayage, where you was paying back the owner of the land with wine, but at the proportion of what the yield has been in this vintage. This system doesn't exist anymore, it's only the fermage. And through the fermage you have to pay the rent to the owner of the land, but like if your vineyard have been producing 100% of the maximum yield. And Mother Nature doesn't always give you 100% of the yield. The last vintage have been showing it, and depending also by the age of the vineyards. So paying the rent when you only produce half of the yield makes it very difficult to make the numbers working.
So a third option might be to buy the grapes.
It is actually in Burgundy what is the easiest situation, where you can basically enjoy expanding a little bit the portfolio of what Burgundy can give you without having the feeling that you wake up every single morning for your banker. You can actually, through a partnership with some local supplier, which actually are friends, get some fruit contracts and starting from having your team going in the vineyards.
So to have a sort of boutique negoce on the side, as it were.
Yes, I think that's what is fairly new into Burgundy because of the difficulty of buying land. It's to have like the official term is negoce, but let's say it's more a small domain extension. Because things are so regulated in France in those days, maybe what would have been more easy to do would have been to give a possibility to every domain to buy 10% of their total production in fruits from their neighbors without having a negoce status. That would have been a clever approach of doing it. Unfortunately, that's not how it works, so you have to set another company with all the investment it requests. But the main thing is you know that you haven't put a loan on the head of your children for the future. I've decided basically to set some rules for myself. So, as you just said, I will only buy grapes of appellations that the domain is not producing, so there is no confusion for the market. I will only buy grapes, not wine made by someone else. And I will only buy grapes in the area where I'm living, where I can see the sun and the clouds. So it's vineyards around my vineyards, which I can see on a daily basis.